Hi, this is Aaron. Welcome to Portland, and this is America's Security Guard. So the importance of a med kit is definitely a huge essential, honestly, for when it comes to security. So that's something I definitely carry around each and every day before every patrol. I make sure I have everything with me. In a typical med kit, you could see gauze, there's some Band-Aids. I usually put Narcan in them sometimes, and any sort of wipes that I could have, whether if it's alcohol wipes or just anything to kind of prevent bleeding, is usually the type of wipes that I kind of carry and the type of tissues that I carry on my person. So right here, I have my tourniquet, which is used to stop severe bleeding from the arm or the leg. And usually this is a big essential of mine as well. I've only used it once ever to stop a bleeding from the leg area. It definitely came in handy. And since my guard kind of broke, I just go ahead and I readjust and I put it in my leg pocket right here. And I'm able to zip it up if I need to, but mostly sometimes I like to keep it a little poked out just in case I can just pull it out and I'm ready to go. The second item, which is by far the most important item, I have 3 gloves here. I've already used 3. We're here in the city of Portland. There's a plethora of diseases. So I just stuff them right here in my glove pouch right here, ready to go. I show up on scene, pull up, glove up. And then my third essentials are these Narcans. Ever since Portland allowed drug use, which thank God now they've gotten rid of that rule, Narcan's a huge thing for us. So I make sure I'm always stocked up on Narcan. And I always put it on my vest at the very front because I'll be in a situation where someone's on the ground, they're unresponsive, they're either not breathing or they're completely out or overdosing. I gotta be ready to go. Pop out a Narcan, I'm good to go. And now, this one, my emergency whistle. Probably never seen this before, but it has done wonders for me. The last 2 times I used these last year, I was able to flag down emergency, especially ambulances that kind of come around. So I put that as well into my front pouch with a bit of my Narcan. Most situations I've been in that has been medical is mostly because of an overdose. So I have my Narcan with me. And last but not least, I make sure I have these gauze and these Band-Aids. I get a lot of people come up to me, mostly just the homeless, asking for some bandages. They might have some nasty cuts, and that's where these come in. The Band-Aids and the gauze mostly come in, keeping this pouch right here also at the front so that I'm ready to just hand out or apply to them. But first I put my gloves on as I apply the bandages and the gauze. I think most guys that I've seen that are mostly on post have had like medical backpacks, and they mostly have like, they have like CPR, like masks and stuff like that. They might have, trauma scissors. I also carry a pair of trauma scissors every now and then. I keep it in my pocket right here. Or, sometimes they have an AED on them, which I very rarely see, but most guys that I've seen that are statics in their medical bags, they have an AED set with them. So I've seen lots of items such as that, especially with an AED. So I am certified. I have a CPR certification. I have a BLS, and I have an AED certification, all from American Heart Association. I've seen guys that have also worked in EMT that are certified. There's a lot of certifications that I've basically seen with security guards that they have, but I think just the main important ones is to have a CPR certification. I think it really goes a long way. Classes are pretty cheap, and your license just goes for a while. Your certification is good for about a year or 2. I think the importance of having a medical kit is to help assist whoever is injured or wounded before AMR shows up on site. I think it's important before emergency response shows up that you're able to help assist a little bit, making their job a little bit easier and being able to aid whoever it is that you're dealing with or is in your area. I think medikits are time sensitive as well as like kind of just low level injuries. I think it benefits both parties. For me, I've been asked most of the time just for medical rather than just assisting. So a lot of people ask me for Band-Aids, so I've always been able to pass out Band-Aids. So most of the time it's kind of just low level. Whenever it's high intense, then that's where I'm able to spring out in action and be able to supply medical help. I think the best place to source medical equipment for me has always been a bag. Other than my person and the items that I just showed you, I think it's important to kind of keep a bag on you, close and near you, because you never know when you don't have the item on you, that you have something close by to where it can help assist before emergency response shows up. I think the big thing is if you're looking for medical gear and kits, I think you should really do a deep dive and research on them rather than just looking for something cheap like something from Amazon where they might not have everything you need, or just some of their products are just not very effective. So a lot of times you can definitely look for some is at hospitals. They usually have no problem giving you like free medical stuff, especially if you work in a security field. I think that's the big thing to look into. Or if you bump into your local AMR, they definitely, give out Band-Aids, they give products and whatnot. And other resource centers, like we have Blanchet House, they also supply us with Narcan and Band-Aids and some sort of that isn't, a budget issue. They give those for free as well. So I definitely think using your resources for medical stuff is definitely beneficial. I think it's important when you deal with a situation where someone is injured, whether it's a low risk injury or a high risk injury, I think it's important to kind of observe the scene to see what's going on, whether they're sick, whether they have cuts, where the wounds are, because you never know what it could be. It could be a gunshot wound and you might not know where it is. I think it's important to observe before you go ahead and help aid. And I think the important part is while you're aiding is that you're on the phone with 911 with emergency response as you're providing aid. And as soon as they arrive, I think that is the best time to go hands off, let them know what you did and what you did to help before they showed up on time. The first people that I call when it comes to a medical emergency is I hotline to AMR. Sometimes 911 is the best option, but majority of the time I just get put on hold. So I've just used my hotline tactics and I've called AMR, and almost every single time they've shown up in a quick and fashionable response. I think the important part about just having medical training really goes a long way, whether if you're in security, law enforcement, or even just outside of healthcare, like, if you just work a 9-to-5 job, I think it's important to always have those things. Have them provide those resources and use them on civilians that are in need of aid. I think it's important because emergency response are not always going to be around. They only answer the call. So I think it's important when you observe it and when you see it, that you go right into action to help out whoever you can. Because at the end of the day, not only are you doing a good deed, but saving someone's life is a huge accomplishment. Thank you for watching again. Be sure you like, subscribe, and don't be afraid to comment or direct message to OpsTech Media.